なたのすべてが好きよ好きよ好きよ好きよ好きよ一番好きよ
Urusei Yatsura Reborn, Episode 17, The Mendo Heir Strikes. A date that ends in disaster. The main estate of the Mendo conglomerate sprawled across several vast acres of land. Behind a towering wrought iron gate stood a European-inspired mansion, surrounded by manicured gardens, magnificent fountains, and Baroque marble pools. A long colonnade of Doric pillars supported the grand portico, while dozens of men, dressed in sleek black suits and dark sunglasses, patrolled the grounds. North sector clear. The pad is prepped. The convoy has just arrived. Two military helicopters emerged from behind the clouds and descended onto the rooftop helipad. Several Japanese government officials stepped out, laden with briefcases and classified folders. Waiting for them at the entrance was the patriarch of the Mendo family, a tall, slender man with jet black hair, impeccably styled, and a refined mustache. Welcome to the Mendo estate. The officials offered a deep, respectful bow. It's an absolute honor to meet the most influential man in the Japanese industrial sector. Minutes later, everyone was gathered in an elegant conference room. Seated around the massive table were Mr. and Mrs. Mendo, Shutaro, his younger sister Ryoko, the family patriarch grandfather, and various board executives. The first slide flashed onto the screen, displaying a series of bleak financial charts. The stock prices of the Mendo conglomerate's food enterprises were in total freefall. Ever since the Oni granted their food bounty to humanity, our losses have been mounting relentlessly. How much have we lost? Millions of dollars. The Mendo patriarch narrowed his eyes. And our overseas factories? Many have been forced to shut down. Why? Because no one wants to buy our food when they can get it for free from those damned aliens. Grandfather Mendo slammed his fist onto the table. If this continues, our food empire will be completely ruined. One of the officials spoke up, which is precisely why an alternative exists. The screen switched. Pictures of alien starships, anti-gravity vehicles, and various Oni devices appeared. The government is prepared to award multi-billion-dollar contracts to any company capable of developing applications based on alien technology. The Mendo patriarch raised an eyebrow. And you want us to secure that technology? Precisely. The screen now displayed a photograph of Lum. Princess Lum possesses direct access to a vast majority of that technology. A slideshow began showcasing moments from Tomobiki High School. Lum playing volleyball, Lum during swim class, Lum flying over the neighborhood, Lum's saucer hovering above the Moroboshi residence, Rand's spaceship, the second arrival of the Oni, and finally, an official photograph taken right after the game of tag. Ataru was pictured alongside Lum and Shinobu, accompanied by Invader, his wife, and several government dignitaries. Shutaro glared at the photo with utter disgust. Well, look at that. One guy with two girls, and a complete idiot at that. He crossed his arms. It's shameful how family values are completely going down the drain. Ryoko watched him with a sly grin. Oh my brother, you look like you're dying of envy. Who do you take me for? Ryoko let out a soft giggle. The official changed the slide. Now, a detailed profile of Shutaro Mendo was displayed. We believe your son is the ideal candidate. Shutaro raised an eyebrow. Me? You possess an exceptional background, a national champion in multiple disciplines, educated in Europe's finest institutions, and heir to one of Japan's most powerful families. Mendo's father immediately chimed in. My son will not stoop so low as to attend a school like Tomobiki. We need someone capable of blending in without raising suspicion. Shutaro straightened his suit jacket. Frankly, father, I agree with you. That school is far beneath my status. The official flipped to the next image. It was Lum during the game of tag, right as Ataru had caught her. In the next shot, Ataru had accidentally ripped off her bikini top, exposing her full, perfectly shaped breasts. Shutaro froze. His eyes slowly widened. Well now, Ryoko turned her head toward him. Oh, looks like someone took a liking to the girl. Shutaro snapped back instantly. Who do you take me for? He looked away, desperately trying to regain his composure. I was merely analyzing the intelligence provided. Ryoko smirked. Right. The officials exchanged a knowing glance. Your mission will be to infiltrate Tomobiki High, get close to Lum, and win her confidence. Shutaro looked back at the screen. And what exactly do you expect me to do? Seduce her. For the first time, Shutaro had no objections whatsoever. He slowly pulled out his tiny gold comb and began touching up his hair. After careful consideration, he struck a suave, romantic pose. I suppose I could make the sacrifice for the future of our nation. Ryoko burst into laughter. Shutaro ignored her. If it is necessary for me to temporarily set aside my European education and attend that school. He stole another glance at Lum's photograph. Then I shall do it. The officials smiled with satisfaction. Excellent. Mendo's father nodded proudly. That's my boy. As the officials exited the room, one whispered to his colleague, Doesn't he remind you a bit of Ataru Moriboshi? The heavy oak doors of the Mendo estate shut tight behind them. At that exact moment, over at the Moriboshi household, Lum was floating attentively in front of the television, munching on star-shaped popcorn. The bag featured a chubby Oni striking a victory pose. Shinobu walked in from school and set her bag on the table. Hey, what are you watching? She asked curiously. I'm not really sure, Lum replied. It's an Earth show about an alien girl who falls in love with a guy she met during a contest for world conquest, but the guy is constantly unfaithful to her. Eventually, she gets kidnapped by another alien prince, and the guy has to prove his love by rescuing her. Lum kept her eyes glued to the screen. Wow, what a mess, Shinobu said. How does it end? Apparently, they recreate the original contest where they supposedly fell in love. Lum pointed at the screen. Look, they ended up together. On screen, the couple embraced. Happy ending. Shinobu watched with a critical eye. Ugh, how sappy. Lum kept chewing. Yeah, she's a pretty dumb princess and the boyfriend is useless. Shinobu then pointed to the screen. And who's that? The girl standing next to the guy. Lum looked. Oh, that's his two-timing ex-girlfriend, the one he ditched for the princess. Shinobu looked closer. What's her deal? Nothing much. At first, she was the rival, constantly picking fights over that loser, but then they turned her into a poorly drawn background character who only exists to drop a couple of comedic gags. She's always throwing furniture, hurling desks around, or screaming like a lunatic. Shinobu stared, perplexed. What a character. They looked at each other. What a pair of total losers, the princess and the bitter ex-girlfriend. Right? As if anything like that would ever happen in real life, fighting over a total loser. Both girls laughed out loud, in case Lum's mouth still stuffed with popcorn. From the kitchen, Ataru's mother called out, Girls, dinner's ready. Help me set the dishes. Lum turned off the TV, and the two girls headed into the kitchen together. Simultaneously, not too far away, Ataru found himself cornered in a narrow alleyway, surrounded by several guys from school. Magain, Perma, Kakugari, and Chibi had him pinned against the wall, while an ever-growing crowd approached with hostile intent. Magain pointed at him indignantly. How is this possible? How on earth did our beautiful Lum and Shinobu agree to live with a scumbag like you? How did you trick them both? Perma took a step forward. How could the biggest idiot in class manage to pull fast ones on girls like that? Kakugari clenched his fists. You pervert. You want them all to yourself. We won't allow it. Lum and Shinobu aren't alone, added Chibi. We're going to rescue them from whatever dirty trick you pulled on them. Ataru held up his hands, terrified. Guys, I didn't do anything. They practically forced themselves on me. You have no idea what it's like living with those two. They've turned my life into a living hell. The mob stepped closer. I can't even go to the park or talk to other girls. Even my own parents took their side, not to mention the rest of the world. Ataru swallowed hard. Believe me, if I could find a way out of this, I'd take it in a heartbeat. But they won't let me. Before he could finish, the entire group pounced on him. Punches, kicks, flying trash cans, terrified cats running for cover, pure, unadulterated chaos. Meanwhile, back at the Moriboshi house, dinner was already served. Ataru's mother looked around. Where's Ataru? Dinner's getting cold. Shinobu arranged the final trays. He was kept after school as punishment. Typical. That boy is a walking disaster. Lum pulled a tiny device out of her bra. Shinobu looked at her with curiosity. What's that? I implanted a subdermal tracking chip in Darling. I can see his exact location in real time, 24/7. Shinobu crossed her arms. And what good does knowing where he is do us? Lum smiled. Oh, it's not just for tracking. I can also fetch him, right from my saucer. I can send a drone to pick him up and bring him straight home. Shinobu's eyes widened. Now that I'd like to see. All right then. Lum pressed the button. High above the city, Lum's saucer hovered hidden within the clouds. Suddenly, a small orb shot out, streaking across the sky until it reached the alleyway. Ataru was still in the thick of the brawl when the orb descended. A flash of lightning struck the group. All the boys collapsed onto the pavement, twitching uncontrollably. The orb opened, deploying mechanical claws that clamped onto Ataru's torso. Hey! The drone began hoisting him up into the air. Let me go! I'm being kidnapped! Help! Somebody help me! Ataru flew across the city, dangling in mid-air as pedestrians below stared up in utter bewilderment. Finally, the drone arrived at the house and rang the doorbell. Lum opened the door with a bright smile. The drone dumped Ataru right in the middle of the living room floor, retracted its claws, closed back up into a small orb, and zoomed out the window. Ataru lay flat on the floor, his clothes in tatters, covered in bruises. His mother glared down at him. Where on earth have you been? Do you think we have all day to wait for you to eat? Ataru pulled himself up, dusting off his clothes. Man, this is worse. Way worse than Magain and his gang. You're a total mess, his mother yelled. Go wash up and sit at the table. Ataru blinked in disbelief. Great, mother. He headed to the bathroom. Minutes later, he returned clean, sitting down next to Lum and Shinobu. As if nothing had happened, they began chatting about their day at school. The next day, Mr. Onsen Mark was conducting a dreadfully boring English class. Shinobu, like most of the students, was diligently taking notes. Ataru, on the other hand, was trying to stay awake by reading a swimsuit magazine, which he had hidden inside his textbook. Magain, Perma, Kakugari, and Chibi kept glaring at him from the front row, throwing deadly looks his way. Ataru ignored them, pretending to study. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Mr. Onsen Mark paused. Come in. The door opened, revealing the principal accompanied by several Japanese government officials. Good morning, class. Everyone stood up, except Ataru, who barely glanced over his book. I hope it's not another one of those annoying aliens. Lum, sitting right beside him, gave him a side eye. What was that, darling? Nothing. Nothing at all. The principal continued. We have the pleasure of introducing a new classmate. He is the son and heir of the Mendo conglomerate, whose family has generously agreed to sponsor our school's educational budget. He paused dramatically. Shutaro Mendo! The classroom erupted. Shutaro Mendo, the guy from the magazines? The one on TV? He's the richest guy in Japan and the handsomest. Magain, Perma, Kakugari, and Chibi stared in horror. Perma turned pale. Damn it, now we're completely finished. Kakugari nodded. No girl will ever look at us again. Ataru slowly closed his magazine. Damn it, not that slick pompadour snob again. He glared at the front, as if encountering him over and over these past months wasn't enough. Now he comes to ruin my life at my own school? He turned to Perma. What is a rich slicker like him doing at our school anyway? Perma shrugged. He's probably after Lum. After Lum? Ataru looked at Lum. Lum blinked. Me? Ataru's face slowly broke into a grin. Wait, this might be my golden ticket to get rid of Lum once and for all. At that moment, a helicopter began its descent over the school courtyard. Everyone rushed to the windows. Settle down. Back to your seats, yelled Mr. Onsen Mark. Class is still in session. Nobody listened. The helicopter landed on the sports field, and out stepped Shutaro Mendo, impeccably dressed in a pristine white suit, his hair slicked back to perfection. Behind him followed several bodyguards in black suits and dark shades. Classroom doors burst open all down the hall. Female students sprinted through the corridors, and within seconds, almost the entire school had gathered in the yard to greet the celebrity. Ataru remained at his desk next to Lum, watching the spectacle from the window. Well, look at Mr. Show-Off, he scoffed, crossing his arms. Being the richest kid in Japan isn't enough. Now he needs a movie star entrance. Who does he think he's fooling? Lum floated over to the window. I don't know, darling, but it looks like Shinobu is pretty impressed. Ataru froze. Say what? He leapt up and peered down into the yard. Sure enough, Shinobu was right at the front, greeting Mendo on behalf of the student body, beaming with utter fascination at his refined posture and aura. Ataru stood paralyzed. He looked down at the magazine in his hands and shredded it to pieces in a fit of rage, smoke practically pouring from his ears. Lum watched him, completely baffled. For the rest of the period, Mendo occupied a desk right in front of the teacher, immediately surrounded by an adoring crowd of girls. Is it true you're the heir to the Mendo conglomerate? Are you really the richest guy in Japan? Did you actually attend boarding school in Switzerland? Mendo responded with carefully calculated modesty. Indeed, my family is among the most prominent in Japan. When I turn 25, my father plans to retire and hand the entire conglomerate over to me. That's incredible. And yes, I spent my childhood studying in Switzerland. They have the finest chocolates there. Did you meet lots of pretty girls? Mendo smiled, smooth as silk. Of course, but none as captivating as the ladies in this classroom. The girls swooned. Ah, he's so polite! Such a true gentleman! From the back of the room, McGain began mocking him with exaggerated gestures. Oh, ladies! My family owns 300 automobiles and 4 European castles. Perma, Chibi, Kakugari, and Ataru burst out laughing at the parody. Meanwhile, the questions kept coming. What sports do you play? Polo, tennis, swimming, fencing, kendo. Mendo smirked. I excel in all of them. Unbelievable. I also collect vintage sports cars. I've even set a few speed records. Shinobu was completely enchanted. She was clinging to Mendo's arm, resting her head against his chest as she listened. On the other side of the room, Ataru snapped a pencil between his fingers. Then another. And another. During recess, the girls and a good portion of the student body followed Mendo out into the yard. Finally, Mendo spotted Lum. He walked up to her with a charming smile. Good afternoon. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Shutaro Mendo. Lum looked at him, hovering in midair. But before she could speak, Ataru suddenly materialized, grabbed Shinobu by the arm and yanked her away from Mendo. What do you think you're doing? Are you cheating on me with this slick hairball? Shinobu broke free and stood her ground. As class president and head of the student council, it's my duty to welcome new students. She paused. Oh, I see how it is. Just like with that airhead Ray. What I do or don't do is none of your business anyway. I take it you had far more important things to do at the park, didn't you? Ataru froze, struck by a truth he couldn't deny. Sakura told me everything. Ataru cringed. Shinobu turned back to Mendo. Let's go, Shutaro. Mendo watched them, puzzled. Do you know this person? That's Ataru, Shinobu sneered. It's nothing I'm proud of, more like an arrangement our parents forced us into, as you probably saw on TV. Mendo looked over at Lum. And she's part of your arrangement too? The alien girl? Lum too, Shinobu added. Mendo's eyes widened. Wait, all 3 of you? Shinobu shrugged. It's complicated. And she walked off with Mendo, still holding his arm. Over the next few hours, Mendo tried repeatedly to approach Lum. Every single time, something got in the way. A girl wanted to chat, a student wanted a photo, a teacher wanted an autograph. When he finally managed to free himself, a voice crackled in the tiny earpiece hidden in his ear. Young Master Mendo, Miss Lum is currently in the gymnasium. This might be your chance. Mendo turned to the surrounding girls. Excuse me, ladies, I have an urgent matter to attend to. Oh, he's such a gentleman. Mendo headed straight for the gym. Lum was doing acrobatics alongside several girls during PE class. Good afternoon, Miss Lum. I see you are remarkably athletic. Lum turned around. Oh, hi, Mendo. How's it going? My mansion features a state-of-the-art gymnasium and full athletic facilities. Asa. Lum looked at him with mild disinterest. Mendo blinked. I also understand you're an extraterrestrial. Our conglomerate is currently developing a space program. Perhaps one day you'd like to visit my estate and... Lum didn't even wait for him to finish. Across the gym, Ataru was flirting with a girl on the balance beam. Hey there, sweetheart. Lum shot across the room like a missile. Darling, leave those girls alone. A massive bolt of lightning blasted Ataru into a crisp. Mendo stood there, utterly dumbfounded. At lunchtime, the students pulled out their bento boxes. Everyone gathered around to stare at Mendo's lunch. Are those quail eggs? French canapes with goose pâté? Whoa, is that caviar? Mendo smiled smoothly. Prepared fresh by a French chef my family hired directly from Paris. Lum inspected the food. Huh, human food is usually pretty bland. She looked over at Ataru. Isn't that right, darling? She offered him one of her alien fish cakes. Ataru took a bite. His face turned bright red and steam started billowing out of his ears. "What in the world did you put in this?" Lum beamed. "It's customized for Oni taste buds." By the end of the day, Mendo was thoroughly frustrated. Before stepping into his limousine, he ducked into the government official's van. "It was completely useless, gentlemen. Every time I try to get close to Lum, someone gets in the way, and when I finally talk to her, she just tunes me out." One of the officials held up a photo. "Look on the bright side, Mendo." Mendo looked. "What? You've gained the attention of the other third of the trio." Mendo blinked. "Who?" The official pointed at the image. "Shinobu." Mendo slowly cracked a smile. "True." Another official chimed in. "If you can win over Shinobu, you might be able to reach Lum through her." Mendo fell into thought. "Change of plans, then." He pulled out his signature gold comb, slicked his hair back, and a confident smirk spread across his face. "I shall conquer Shinobu." He looked in the van mirror. All for the future of the free world. Hours later, Ataru returned home still furious, his clothes singed from Lum's lightning. He walked upstairs, opened his bedroom door, and stopped dead in his tracks. The entire room was filled with flowers, boxes of chocolates, and elegant gifts. Ataru smirked. "Ha! Finally, that slick snob Mendo is taking Lum off my hands. Shinobu and I can finally be together like it was always meant to be." He picked up one of the cards. His smile instantly vanished. "Huh?" He read the name, Shinobu Miyake. All the flowers, chocolates, and gifts were for Shinobu. Ataru tore the card to pieces. "That arrogant, rich brat is trying to steal my girl? I won't allow it." At that moment, Lum floated into the room, followed by Shinobu. "What are you doing? Don't break my things. Look what you did to it." Shinobu picked up the card, smoothed it out, and placed it back next to the flowers. "And it was so pretty, too." She glared at Ataru. "Doesn't he seem like a total Prince Charming? You could stand to learn a thing or two from him. You've never given me so much as a piece of candy or a pen." Ataru opened his mouth, utterly outraged. Shinobu picked up another card. Lum floated closer. "What's that, Shinobu?" "An invitation from Shutaro. He wants to meet tonight at one of the most exclusive restaurants in Tokyo." Lum's eyes went wide. "You're going, of course. An invitation like that doesn't come along every day." Shinobu beamed. "Oh, what should I wear?" The two girls sprinted to the corner of the room. Shinobu started pulling out dresses she had brought over, and Lum began helping her pick. Ataru stood in the middle of the room, completely pushed aside. Nobody paid him any attention. "Not that dress. This one. Look at this one." Ataru looked around. It was his room, his house, and yet he felt like the ultimate third wheel. This cannot be happening. The two girls kept picking out outfits while Ataru stood alone in the middle of his own bedroom, totally ignored. Shortly after sunset, one of Mendo's limousines pulled up in front of the Moroboshi house. Ataru's mother was helping Shinobu style her hair as Shinobu twirled in front of the mirror. "You look gorgeous, dear." "Good luck, or rather, have a wonderful evening." His mother sighed nostalgically. "Oh, I'd love to be your age again. I remember when Ataru's father used to take me out to eat. Of course, it wasn't a French restaurant, just a local ramen shop." She looked back at Shinobu. "Well, you look beautiful. Have fun, sweetie." "Thank you, Mrs. Moroboshi." In the corner, Ataru watched the scene with crossed arms and a scowl. Lum floated over to him. "What's wrong, darling?" "It's ridiculous. She's my girl. We're practically engaged in front of everyone, and she dares go out with another guy? And my own mother just goes along with it?" Lum tilted her head. "But darling, we're engaged. That doesn't mean Shinobu can't go out for dinner." "What? She's not doing anything wrong. Besides, she's just as much your girlfriend as she is mine." Lum gave a sweet smile. "And I give her my permission." Ataru stared at her in horror. "I will never understand aliens. Things work very differently around here." Lum blinked. "Oh, and how do things work here?" Ataru opened his mouth, then went silent. "Well, it's hard to explain." Just then, the doorbell rang. Shinobu stepped outside. Waiting by the door was an elegant chauffeur in a suit, accompanied by Shutaro Mendo, dressed in an impeccable black tuxedo. Mendo delicately took Shinobu's hand. "Miss Shinobu." He escorted her to the limousine. Ataru's mother gasped in admiration. "Oh, what a boy! What a sophisticated, handsome boy! I should have had a son like that!" Ataru slowly turned his head. "Mom?" She didn't even look at him. Ataru opened the fridge, grabbed a soda, and chugged it in one gulp. Lum clapped excitedly. Bravo, darling. Very nice. Hours later, Shinobu and Mendo were seated at one of Tokyo's most elite restaurants. A massive platter of lobsters had just been served, followed by an array of decadent desserts. Mendo calmly held his glass, looking at Shinobu with a smooth smile. You are truly exquisite. He gently stroked her cheek. Shinobu blushed. You probably say that to all the girls. Yes, but none are as charming as you. Shinobu smiled, but then paused. There's something I don't understand, though. Why did you transfer to our school? A guy like you could study anywhere. What are you doing at a place like Tomobiki? Mendo set his glass down. Shinobu, I'll be completely honest with you. Meanwhile, outside the restaurant, Ataru was standing in the shadows, poorly disguised in a trench coat and fedora, trying to spy on them through the window. Lum floated down from above. Darling, leave them alone. No, she's my girl. I need to know exactly what they're talking about. You don't need to meddle. Leave them be. Lum tried to drag him away. Come on, darling. No, inside, Mendo continued. We are deeply concerned about the Oni situation and their technology. Shinobu listened attentively. We have a unique opportunity to learn from this intergalactic encounter and uncover the technological secrets of the Oni, but we cannot do it without their consent. He paused. That's why we need your help. We know you are close with Lum, though I still find it hard to comprehend how your arrangement works. Shinobu frowned. We want you to act as our liaison, to convince Princess Lum to collaborate with our conglomerate to develop technologies that could benefit all of humanity. What kind of technology? Anti-gravity drives, tractor beams, interstellar travel, faster-than-light capabilities. Shinobu toyed with her glass. Weapons too? Mendo fell silent for a brief second. Well, not primarily, but they could be a byproduct. Shinobu set her glass down. So that's what this is about. Mendo looked at her. What do you mean? That's why you treated me like this. Why you sent flowers, chocolates, all those gifts. Why you brought me here. Her expression hardened. You only care about the technology. You're just using me to get to Lum. That's not true. Yes, it is. Shinobu glared at him, crushed. I see now. No, not at all. Suddenly, shouting erupted from the entrance of the restaurant. Leave me alone, man. Sir, you can't be in here. I wasn't doing anything wrong. Shinobu turned toward the commotion. Mendo looked over too, his eyes widening immediately. Lum. Shinobu followed his gaze and saw Lum floating beside Ataru while he argued with the waiters and bouncers. Then she looked at Mendo and back at Lum. So that's part of it too. Mendo couldn't answer. Shinobu looked down, feeling even more used. She stood up from the table, and Mendo did the same, both rushing toward the entrance just as Ataru started shoving the waiters. You're stealing my girl, pretty boy, Ataru yelled. Mendo scowled. What did you just call me? You heard me. Ataru lunged at him, and Mendo retaliated instantly. The two ended up rolling around on the floor fighting while Shinobu tried desperately to pull them apart. Stop it! Stop it, both of you! Lum sighed. Darling. She unleashed a massive thunderbolt. Kaboom! Ataru hit the deck. He was used to Lum's shocks. Mendo, however, was not. The heir to the Mendo conglomerate lay twitching on the floor, completely electrocuted. Shutaro! Shinobu burst into tears as guards and staff surrounded the two boys. Hours later, everyone was at the local police station. Ataru's parents had arrived with a lawyer, while a representative from the Mendo conglomerate handled Shutaro's paperwork. Finally, both boys were released on bail. As they walked out, Ataru's mother grabbed him firmly by the ear. You bring me nothing but trouble. Couldn't you leave Shinobu alone for even one single evening? Ouch, Mom! A few feet away, Shinobu was sobbing while Lum embraced her, comforting her. Ataru's father finished signing the release forms while the Mendo representative did the same for Shutaro. Both boys stepped out onto the street, their clothes scorched and their hair standing completely on end from Lum's lightning. But outside, another problem awaited. A swarm of reporters immediately surrounded Mendo. Mr. Mendo, a photo, please. Flashes went off endlessly. Mendo appeared in every single photograph looking completely toasted, his white suit charred black. The next morning, that very image occupied the front cover of a tabloid magazine. Heir to Mendo conglomerate involved in street brawl. Later back home, Ataru walked upstairs ready to crash in his room. He tried to open the door, but it was locked. Girls, let me in. From the other side, Lum replied, "No, you behaved terribly. Today you sleep on the couch." The door opened just a crack, and a blanket and pillow came flying into the hallway. Catch! The door slammed shut again. Ataru picked up the blanket and pillow. Unbelievable. Grumbling under his breath, he walked downstairs, collapsed onto the couch, pulled the blanket over himself, and crossed his arms. I can't believe I got kicked out of my own room. Moments later, he was fast asleep. Up in Ataru's room, Lum and Shinobu were sitting together. Lum looked at Shinobu with curiosity. "So tell me, how was Mendo? How was the date?" She paused. "Well, up until Ataru showed up?" Shinobu sighed. "You saw Mendo. He's so charming, polite, and distinguished. The restaurant was amazing." She lowered her gaze. "But I realized I was being stupid all along. He was just using me." Lum blinked. "Using you? How?" "He just wanted to get to you." "To me?" "Yeah. It turns out his father's conglomerate has its eyes on your alien tech. They wanted to use me to get close to you and convince you to collaborate with them on their projects. Probably military stuff." Lum's eyes narrowed in outrage. "Wow, what a scoundrel! Playing with your feelings like that." Shinobu nodded. "Now that I think about it, it's pretty obvious. Otherwise, why would the son and heir of the richest man in Japan transfer to our school of all places?" Lum tilted her head. "Well, I attend your school." "Yeah, but at first it was just to bug Ataru. That was in the beginning, though. Now I have more than one reason to stay at Tomobiki." Lum wiped a tear from Shinobu's cheek, gently caressing her face. Shinobu smiled and hugged Lum. "You say the sweetest things, Lum. Forget about that jerk. At least everything turned out fine in the end." Shinobu looked at her, confused. "Huh? What do you mean fine? We ended up at the police station." Lum giggled softly. "Yeah, but thanks to that, you realized something important." "What's that?" "Just how much Ataru was worried about you, and how jealous he got at the thought of seeing you with another man." Shinobu smiled, lowering her eyes with a tender expression. "You're right. After all, Ataru really does care about me.